It's Sunday, August 31st. Everyone relax. This is Two Guys, One Cup, an AFL adjacent podcast. My name is Will Anderson.
My name is Charlie Clausen, and I've informed the Carlton Football Club that I'll be seeking a trade elsewhere. Just joining the Exodus. I'm not sure if you've been paying attention, Will.
I haven't really. I've had a few things.
I mean,
a few things going on. So yeah, haven't been paying a lot of attention.
Let me just. Do you remember when? Hang on.
Yeah.
Do you remember when?
Yeah. My favourite bit of "Do you remember when" is the big pause before the harp comes in for "Do you remember when?"
There's always a bit of a lag on Riverside. I always forget. I just got to get my intros better. But do you remember when there was a mass exodus at St Kilda? Like Naz wasn't going to re-sign, and Cal Wilkie wanted out, and Jack Steele wanted out, and Jack Sinclair. And now everyone's coming to St Kilda, apparently. Sam Flanders, Tom de Koning, Jack Silvani.
I mean, it's the money well spent, isn't it? This is where your $2 million, it turns out, is an absolute bargain, because otherwise everyone was going. It's the equivalent of like a factory shutting up in a town and then just everybody leaves the town. Like the lawyers, the dry cleaners, they all relied on that business. And if the business is not there anymore, they're not going to be there anymore.
I mean, it is a weird time of the year because we're sort of, let's not harp on about the finals buy and whether or not it's good for football. Every other show is talking about that. But
also,
in this lull that we get,
it's a bit. Yeah, I said, but it wasn't even like a real lull because we had that weird Wednesday game.
Weird Wednesday.
So we've actually had like football this week, technically, right? Like there was a game this week.
But did you feel like with that game, I mean, and you would have probably, at least put half an eye on it, that after the first 20 minutes, everyone was
I didn't. Like, if it gives you any indication of what's going on in my world, I did not even bother watching. At one stage, I think it was probably about halfway through the game, I checked to see if I needed to check again.
Yeah.
And I did not. No, at that point, Marcus Bontempelli called me personally from the airport. the departures lounge at the airport. He gave me a call and said, "It's all right, mate. You don't need to watch this one."
I would love to see like what the ratings drop off was, because halfway through the second quarter, it was clear that this game was over, and so I'd like to see how many people. Because I'm like you, I don't even have I literally don't have a dog in the fight. No. But I was like, oh, is this a game I should be paying attention to? And it's like, oh, absolutely not. So I won't even check the score after this. But in this weird time, it's the exit interviews are happening. So the trade talks starting, but of course there's still 8 teams to play finals.
Do you think we should, by the way, at the end of each of our seasons, maybe we should have do you think we should have an exit interview at the end of each Two Guys, One Cup? I mean, we've been doing this now for 9 seasons.
Yes.
Or is it 10 seasons? How many seasons have we been doing this? 10 seasons. So this is our 10th season of following the show. And we've never had a review. We've never had an exit meeting. We have wildly fluctuating game plans to how we approach this podcast. Do you think that we would benefit from exit interviews? Who would we do them with? Because we can't do them with each other.
We'd have to hire an independent.
Yeah,
isn't we need to get review.
Well, let's get that leading teams or whoever it was who did the. Who's the Adelaide camp people? They're probably not getting a lot of work anymore. Let's get Collective Minds back together and get them down to Everyone Relax HQ for a bit of.
Do you imagine it's like that scene in Ghostbusters where Collective Minds are just sitting around the office, like everyone's just staring into space. The receptionist is there, bored, and the phone rings, and she's like, "Yes, we do. Yes, we can." And she hangs up. She's like, "We got one." What is it? It's a podcast. They don't even sit in the same room. One of them's in Byron Bay. The other one, well, he's all over the shop. We don't know where he is, but they want to review. Collective Minds are like, great, yeah, we can do that.
I think they'd take the work, right? They'd need it.
Okay, so are they doing their? Have Collective Minds moved? I'm going to just what you're talking. I'm just going to see if they still exist.
Okay, see what Collective Minds are up to, because it's interesting to me when a company goes through something so publicly scandalous, like the way that Collective Minds were painted, particularly in the football media. That does that actually hurt your reputation, or in the business world or wherever else you can pivot to, is it just fine? And Collective Minds just went on with their business and are still one of the leading teams in this space. Okay. Haven't even bothered changing their names. Or have they changed their name and turned themselves into something else? Are they collective dicks or something now?
Collective
leaned in.
Collective mind. I'm assuming this is it because there's collective
Mm.
mind and collective minds, variations of it. It seems to be a very popular business title,
Yep.
especially amongst training and performance companies.
Okay. Yeah.
But there is one that is collective mind, singular.com.au. And the subheading on Google is leadership performance. I assume that would be the one. But when I click on it, it's literally like,
So it's
you
none
know
of your
how
business,
some,
mate. Shut
know-
up. Why are you asking questions?
like, you know how some businesses, like a strip club, for instance, they don't
Yeah.
need a website, but they should get one in case people Google it. So when you click on the Collective Mind website, it goes to a splash page where, much like a strip club in sort of gaudy gold writing, it says Collective Mind, but then there is nothing clickable on that page. There's no about, there's no testimonials, there's no contact information.
No
it's literally a placeholder.
evidence or contact information.
I can
nothing,
just hear
nothing that you cannot pull the plug on or burn down in a minute's notice.
If you just close your eyes, well, you can hear a paper shredder going and hard drives being destroyed with acid.
Collective minds. So yeah, I agree with you that it is that time of the year. It's the
collective mind are rolling in, and they're going.
it's the team building, and so I guess that's also the approach. What do you think? Like, I mean, genuinely, if you're a professional sports person, you're an AFL footballer, because apparently Ross Noble doesn't do, Ross Noble. It'd be great if Ross Noble did them. That's a good direction.
I mean, the players by the end of it wouldn't know if they were going or staying. They had some surreal imagery put in their head about Luna Park.
You know what? What I was going to say is Ross Lyon apparently famously doesn't do exit interviews. But what if this year Ross Lyon hired Ross Noble to do the exit interviews on his behalf as the only person who talks basically the same amount of nonsense. As Ross does. It's just like, I think Ross was happy with me. He said a lot of things about monkeys and a circus, and then there was a Shakespeare thing.
Aliens landing or replace footy jumpers. I mean, you're right. If you could use AI to pitch shift Ross Lyon's voice to Ross Noble and got him to do his press conference, would you be able to tell the difference?
I think if Ross Noble took all the players to see, Ross Lyon took Ross Noble to see, like, how sometimes they get Hughesy down to Carlton or whatever
to give him a bake or whatever
up.
it is. Yeah.
But I think this is more like a team bonding exercise.
Yeah.
So Ross is like, hey, we're not doing meetings, but check in your locker. We've hired, actually, you know what? Better. Naz has hired out the entire Palais Theatre. It's just going to be the 40 of us, and Ross Noble's going to do his entire show. And just all you need to know about next season's game plan will be contained within.
I think that is. I mean, there would have been a period of time when altitude training or taking play away, where that probably would have been something that they would consider.
Well, this is, but that's what I mean. This is your collective mind style thing. It's the walking over hot coals or the team bonding. This is just another version of that.
Yeah. And so we're subjecting us to that. So are they going to evaluate whether or not this podcast is working or performing at its highest level by making us do weird non sequitur type activities, or is it just more like they're going to chat to us and do a profile?
You know what? Both of those are excellent questions, but unfortunately my brain has become entranced by a completely different idea, and I'm going to have to move on to it.
Okay.
So what if next season we said to the AFL that every team got to pick a comedian? Like, I think it would be nice if the comedian barracked for that team.
Sure.
I think that
Makes
would
it
be
easier.
better. Yeah. Who's the comedian you're willing to pick out of
Does
your
Eric
most
Banner
famous,
dust off like his old joke book?
Pointer or whatever, gets Pointer out, right?
Yeah. I was a Saints fan. Matt Hardy, of course. How could I go past Matt Hardy?
So, but then that person is going to do a performance by which you've got to base your entire philosophy and game plan on for the next season. So it's not, so each of the teams has to commit to, doing the game plan that is based on the performance of the comedian they have nominated from their list. What do you think?
So does Broden perform for Melbourne, or is it Auntie Donna? Because I'd love to see the absurdist side of Auntie Donna. I mean, that could be, Melbourne's been in a rut. Like, maybe they need a bit of that Auntie Donna avant-garde anti-comedy comedy. Maybe that's what they need.
One word, 3 letters, pud.
James Podsiadley comes over, starts coaching them. We couldn't get pud, but we got pods.
we've got him to change his name legally to Punjab. So
James Pudsey.
he was glad to do it. He's a big Auntie Donna fan, it turns out.
Welcome to Do Guys
I
One
think
Cup, an AFL
technically I was
adjacent
going to say,
podcast.
yeah, right. Well,
Yeah.
come on,
This is
it's
totally our
AFLM
areas.
buy round.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Mitch Brown?
Yes.
just
Speaking of
briefly?
buy
I think
round.
would be nice wordplay. I enjoy that.
You're
So
welcome,
I had to for a
guess.
second. I had to be like, "Are we going to get cancelled?" And I was like, "No, that's a lovely little
Link.
like yeah." So first openly queer AFLM player, which is like a big
Yeah.
a big deal, and just I thought definitely worth acknowledging that someone had the courage, particularly at a time where there's a lot of debates in the league about like there's been so much homophobia that has been tolerated in the AFL over this year, to come out in that environment and obviously to make that statement publicly, not on behalf of himself as much as on behalf of other people, to give them the opportunity to also do it. I thought was just very, very worth acknowledging.
I think there's been a lot of they always say out of like bad things, some good things can come. There's been a lot of really interesting commentary and writing around this, especially from people who are involved in the AFL who are queer themselves.
Yeah.
That I think has been really useful, like stuff that I hadn't really sort of considered, that it's not even just kind of the people playing the game, but it's everyone associated with the game in all levels of a club, like it's just, there is this idea that, especially for the men, that it's sort of this thing that is just amongst the teammates.
Blokes in the shower wouldn't want to have a shower with, which was one thing that he did reference, and you imagine does happen, but we think it's all about that when so much of it is about much, much more of that. And when Bob Murphy writes about the fact that he thinks that a player would be embraced by his teammates, and he says things like that because he knows that there are clubs that have known that they've had gay players on their list, and they have been fine with it, and they've been fine with keeping that private because that person wanted to keep that private. But it's absolutely not just about that one thing.
What do you think about this idea that like Gil McLaughlin a couple of years ago was talking about why he understands someone hasn't come forward because the responsibility or the attention that would come with that by being the first player who's playing the game to come out and say something like that. Do you think, because I understand what he's saying, but it also is, it feels like a great way to keep people in the closet. You know what I mean? To sort of put that specter of, rather than sort of saying, hey,
you think when the boss of the competition says, I reckon the reason people aren't coming out is that it'd be really scary and it'll probably ruin your life. That might in turn send the message saying, that it would.
Hey, we would fully 100% support that. Where of course we respect people's privacy, but if a male player was to come forward, they'd have the full support of the AFL. In fact, we've done many initiatives in the community to promote like the Pride Round, all that kind of stuff. Like it was a golden opportunity that went begging. And I just wonder, like, Andrew Dillon maybe could come out now and say something like that, especially considering it has been in the press for the last 2 weeks.
I mean, again, I often think my whole thing is throw yourself on. No, this is. I need to point out this transition.
Okay,
I'm going to stop just for a second.
Okay,
I'm going to say,
understand we're about to change direction. The car's going around the corner.
Well, because with the Isaac Rankin thing, you can't take the context of what happened with Isaac Rankin out of the context of what has happened with this announcement, right? Like, I think part of it's obviously been spurred by the fact that the AFL really, in their moment where they should have held their nerve and just immediately said, this is 5 weeks, this is the penalty for what this is. And, we've made that very clear. But more than that, because this is the transition I was going to do. I was going to say I've always been a big believer on fall on your sword, and I didn't want to make fall on your sword reference
some kind of
like
euphemism.
Immediately after we were just talking about that. I was like, I think I should. I think I really should separate those two. So
good. I'm glad there's a buffer.
Yeah. So, but I do think that if Isaac Rankin had come out immediately and said, I have completely let down the game here, and I have completely let down my team here, and I take full responsibility for both of those things. What I said was inappropriate. I understand why it was inappropriate. And I have got so much work to do now to like win back the trust of the public, but more importantly for me to win back the trust of my teammates who I have let down in the moment they needed me the most, I think that then people in general would have been like, oh, maybe he deserves 4. But when you fight it the other way, like what you end up doing is not really achieving anything and then just leaving this horrible, like you become the villain of the piece. And I think Adelaide, even though I think they were fighting for their player,
Yeah.
they put him in. I actually think that Mitch Brown, in a way, has done an incredible service to Isaac Rankin almost in a way as well, because he has moved the debate forward from someone who is in the past and this thing that let's concentrate on what has like this. This is a step forward again. The game took a step back. And I think that Mitch Brown jumped in and he said, well, if it's taken a step back, I need to be the person who takes it. Like,
Nudge
if
it
it's taken
forward
half
again.
a step back, I need to take it forward. And I think that's fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great too. I mean, it's also good too to see that it felt like the general consensus around the footy media about the AFL blinking in that instance of 4 or 5 weeks was just like, come on, it's like fucking hell, man. Like it was right there.
I would have loved if like just a dozen dudes just went, yeah, me too. Like straight away. Like, you know, because like if it just 12 had it once, you'd be like, well, that's okay. Well, there we go. They'd
Yeah.
all agreed. If once one does, we're all going.
Yeah. Now, there has been a lot of, this is a good time to tune in to SEN at the moment. Sam Edmund and Jared Waitley, they're doing an early trade bell. So this is all the trade rumors and stuff.
Yeah.
So Sam Edmund, he was doing this thing where he was talking about, like it was, he can be quite flowery in the way he sort of presents, you know, in his writing and also in the way he presents sort of stories. And he was sort of, he and Jared were on this kind of like thing of like, oh, there's like 4 kinds of players when it comes to this time of the year. It's like, you know, the movers and the shakers, it's the game players. And he had one, he had a term for the player that like a Tom De Koning or a Jack Silvani, he goes to their team and says, hey, I want to confess, I want out of the club. I just don't think he really thought about what he was going to say until he said, just so you think if this sounds a little odd to you, the way he phrases this.
Coming. Tom De Koning has just had his exit meeting at Carlton. He has informed them he's joining St Kilda.
The Fessor Uppers.
Free agent. Fessor Upper.
The Come Cleaners. There you go. That was always happening today.
The Fessor Uppers. The Come Cleaners. I heard that and I kept having to say it in my head to go, where does the emphasis need to be? It's the Come Cleaners. You need to emphasize the cleaners otherwise.
Nah, you just don't say come cleaners. There's no good way to say come cleaners. Like that shouldn't be even a thing you're trying to get going, come cleaners, because even if you say it right the first time, if you're trying to get it going as a saying, there's going to be so many people who are always getting it wrong. And there's just people going around in the football media and then suddenly calling everyone come cleaners.
It wasn't the first time, because I heard him say
Boss,
that.
hey, coach, I've got to sit down. I've got something really important to tell you.
I'm a come cleaner.
I'm a come cleaner. And I think it's fine. And we support you. And the AFL supports
the
you.
coach is just like, just tell me, did anyone have their mobile phone out when you were doing it?
Yeah, that's right.
we could be all right.
Mate, well, if you cleaned it up, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what, like, isn't it Ken Hinkley who was big on like players in the change rooms? Like, he's like, oh, clean up after yourselves.
He was a team of come cleaners. That's what he liked.
He dropped the line somewhere. So, All Australian team was announced. We should talk briefly about that.
Okay, let's do it.
I saw Bont was in there.
Marcus Bontempelli.
Did he have that good a season? Like, I
reckon he had a better season than last season.
As someone who didn't watch many Bulldogs games, hang on, sorry, I've hit the button on my desk.
I think he ended up being the second highest rated player or the highest rated player in the AFL for the season. Like he played enough games because you got to play 16 or 17 or whatever it is to qualify. Yeah. And so he missed, we all, I mean, it would have been a classic Bevo's Bottom Boys if it had worked out as a plan, because him missing out at the start.
Yeah, so really how many games did he miss at the start? Because that's my impression.
5 or 6, right? Okay. So, but then he didn't miss, and he basically just went on this tear where he was our best player. I mean, it won't surprise me. I don't think he would, because I think there's other players who are going to take votes from him in the Bulldogs this year, but he had a run towards the end of the season where he was our best player a lot. Like, you know, Brownlow-wise, I think he'll get a lot of votes. I think he'll end up getting more votes than he did last year, where he went in as one of the favourites. I think he's a bit of a sneaky. I think there'll probably be people who beat him, but I reckon he'll do okay. I think he'll do better than people expect.
I was quite shocked to see him. So how many All-Australians is that for him now? Let's see.
6 or 7?
I'm just scrolling down. They've got all the stats here. Was he on the bench?
He was on the bench. Yeah, sitting next to Nick Dacos.
Yeah, 2016,
Pretty strong bench.
2019, 2020, 2021, 2023, yeah, so 6. So this is his 7th.
Yeah.
And he was in the extended squad in the years he didn't make it.
Yeah.
What a superstar.
Yeah, because he's really good.
This guy.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man, God. He was the best on ground at that. I went to that game.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
First quarter, I enjoyed quite a lot, actually. We missed a lot of opportunities. And in retrospect, obviously, I think if we'd taken a few of those earlier opportunities, maybe we would have got the sort of momentum that Freo might have got in their own heads and a bit wobbly. But as soon as they got their confidence, you could just tell that second quarter, you were just like, but you know what it was?
Those two words do not go well. Fremantle and confidence.
I
I have no idea. I tried to imagine what that would look like. I have no idea.
Well, it's horrible when they have it. They look like a completely... Never have you seen a team that changes personality so quickly, because suddenly they're just everyone's a gun forward and all their midfielders have perfect... in the first quarter, it looked like their midfielders aren't going to get to touch it this game. That's embarrassing for them. And then you suddenly oh yeah, okay. Hayden Young's injured and still got 30 clearances. And but it was really one of those things. It was funny being there. Because it was really that sense of, we all knew that this was what we had, right? That we don't have a strong back line, and if you can turn it over against the Bulldogs, then you can get us. It's been the story all year. It's why the good teams beat us and we can thrash the not so good teams, is because if we've got all the momentum, it is very hard to beat us. But if you actually are able to get it into your forward line, we don't have a lot to stop that. We've really got to... Our game plan really relies on you not noticing that we don't have a back line.
Yeah.
And
so you're into Silvani, and who's the other person they've been talking about? There's another...
I mean, they've been talking about Stephen May, which I am not I don't know if we need I think he's a great footballer, but
do you
feels
want him
a bit
down there?
bashy. I don't know. I don't feel like for team culture, he feels like...
You think he'll spook all the Bulldogs players?
Unless we're... could it be a Bull Durham style thing,
right,
where they get Stephen May and they team him up with Jamara? So, a forward...
I was nodding until you got to your point. Okay.
No, but you know what I mean? Because Jamara needs a bit of it feels like maybe needs a little bit of at least at the very least, protection.
Someone to back him up in a fight.
When he's up, you know what I mean? At least he needs a hard man who might at least protect him in those scenarios. And I reckon Stephen May might be the sort of it's kind of goon style, where instead of him punching his own teammates and that sort of thing, you're no, this is what you can do for the team. You can get out there, be at the nightclubs kind of as a,
I love that. I mean, that's Bevo just thinking really laterally. Yeah. It's you know what? Yeah. Why don't we encourage him to go to the nightclubs? We'll just get him some muscle so if he gets into trouble.
Right. Lean in to who the players are.
Only punch his teammates. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, occasionally Jamara might need a punch. You know what I mean? That might actually be that
he's talking me around.
No, he's not allowed to punch him all the time. There'd be a certain amount of punches for the year. And a mutually agreed upon. We can't do this against Jamara's will.
So it's part of Stephen May's contract includes how many times you can punch Jamara.
Yeah. And Jamara has to agree to that number, up front. Okay. He's in this scenario, he's kind of come to the club going, give me one more chance. I suddenly see that no one's really interested in recruiting me because, I've had a pretty rough year off the field. So suddenly the interest has dried up. I've still got a contract with you guys for $900,000. I'd actually really like that money. So what about if I come down to the club and this is my agreement to you that Stephen May, you recruit him and I'll let him be my shadow. And if I get out of line, he can punch me 6 times a year, closed fists, and 12 times a year,
slaps.
Open palm.
Funny slaps.
Yeah. 18 in total.
Backhanders, 3 I reckon 6.
4 backhanders.
4 backhanders, 12 soft palm slaps.
And if they make finals, there's obviously some extras that click in. But yeah, what do you think? Does
I
that feel
think-
like a good plan?
It seems like a great plan. I mean, it's
Yeah.
certainly thinking outside the box. But my
Yeah, thanks.
concern is that Stephen May won't just like he'll get the like a shark with a taste for blood. He'll taste a bit of that Jamara blood and it's like Bontempelli's next.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I
You
know.
know, I've
yeah.
taken down the young stallion. Now it's time
That's
to go
right.
over after the old bull.
Can you imagine if like you punch the Bont in the face?
Like he probably would. Like he seems like that kind of
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, and then he would never be seen again. You don't think there's a few people in the western suburbs who would disappear you for punching the Bont in the face?
Bury you under Franco Cozzo's old
Yeah.
showroom.
Yeah, just
All right. What I thought we could do today, Will, because
yes.
the men are on the bye, is to talk about the teams that are no longer in contention, and we'll bring back our
makes
famous
sense.
buckets or bouquets segment.
Oh yeah, that's right. Of course.
Where we offer either a bucket of shit or a bouquet of shit, a bouquet of flowers. I mean, they're both pretty terrible. I'll be honest with you. They're just packaged differently.
Okay. All right.
No, it's a bouquet of flowers or a bucket of shit for each team relative to expectation and all that kind of stuff and development.
Yes. And the other thing is, one day I'd like to say, you know what? I'd like to say that there are some teams that have a bucket of shit season, but that shit is going to be the fertilizer that will grow them the flowers in the future, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's start at the top of the bottom, which is with the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Finished the season on 14 wins, which is insane to see you had 14 wins.
And a percentage of 947. Like a percentage that would have had them, I think, second or third.
137. It's almost the second highest percentage.
Yeah.
It would have been the third highest percentage in the 8 if you'd qualified. So what that says is you can beat up bad teams real good. You're great at picking on people smaller than you.
Which is one of those things that used to be an indicator of you were a season away from being a good team, right? Like they used to say that if your percentage is really high, but you're not necessarily winning as many as you, that was always a good sign. But I mean, I do just think I think there was a wise prophet of the game one day back in the day. The legend. I'm not a person who normally, respects royalty and fancy titles, but sometimes you've got to bend your knee.
Brian Royal.
That's right, apart from Brian Royal, correct, yes. So, yeah, I mean, I was also going for another pun. So you're absolutely right.
I didn't mean to
as I genuflect to the wisdom of David King, don't get beaten by what you know.
Yes.
And the Bulldogs, you know what you know.
Yeah.
There's no secrets to what's going on at the Bulldogs. We need one or maybe two bigger backmen. Our top 6 to 10 are as good as any 6 to 10 in the entire league. And our bottom 6 are not as good as the bottom 6 in those teams. Most of those teams
you're very top heavy. It's like...
But our very good players are very good.
Very good. But it also it's almost like you're like the flying V of the Mighty Ducks, because like great attack, great half forwards, great mids and wings, and then it just tapers off as you get sort of further into the back line. Which is
I think this season of like the forward line, seems to start work. Again, no disrespect to this great plan I've got that I'm going to send Bevo about recruiting Stephen May to do a buddy cop with Jamara, but obviously Mara's probably not going to be at the Bulldogs. I wish him all the best. I hope he finds happiness and health and gets to play football again. For the Bulldogs, I'm not sure we need him, even though he's so gifted, because I think that forward line of Norton and Darcy looks good now, and Croft looks like he's going to absolutely be at the level, and they seem all different enough, and I feel like they could work together. You hopefully get Waitman back next season. He was hugely missed.
Are you going to get him back from his gallery openings and stuff like that? Dude,
he's had to lean into opening galleries. So, he hasn't been able to play a lot of footy. He's had a lot of time to pursue his art. That's right. But let's hope so. And I hope that maybe we can go combine the two, and the Bulldogs he can paint the banner each week before the games, and we can run through an original Cody Waitman piece of art on the way to the games. But midfield's great.
So what's happened to Rory Lobb and Liam Jones? Wasn't that looking like a good combo for a time, and now what? They've gone off the boil?
Liam's just The game just went past him. He was
Right, okay.
He's 36 or something.
Yeah.
Like, and for a
and
guy,
he looks great because he doesn't jab himself with vaccines.
well, yeah, that's
which,
right.
as we all know.
Yeah. Well, him and Caesar are going to be retired at the same time, and at least one of them was up to date on all their vaccinations. So, but they're both being sent to the same farm, I think. So, but so he just lost his place. Like
Right.
and so I think that what they've got, O'Donnell and Lobb, they'd be really good if you had
Stephen May.
either two more, like, I think they'd be good as part of a 3 or a 4. Like, you need at
Okay.
least one more really great, like a really good backman. Like, O'Donnell was playing cricket 3 years ago, like he's advanced so much.
Bulldogs love taking a
Yeah.
cricketer like Alex
Yeah.
Keith, O'Donnell, turn him into a defender.
Our ruckman is
maybe that's
Travis
where you're
Head
going
next
wrong.
year. That's right. Yeah.
Like maybe you should actually go draft an
Yeah.
actual
People
football
who play
defender.
football.
Yeah, to play in defence. All right. Next are the Sydney Swans, 12 wins.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible start to the year, injuries galore. Got their shit together,
Came home
it sort
strong.
of feels like.
Mostly.
Yeah,
I thought so.
last 5 games, 3 wins, 2 losses. But this is an okay year. This is an okay backward step year. New coach, a lot of your stars are out. I think they'll be fine.
Well, this is my classic bucket of shit, but the shit's got seeds in it. They're going to sprout into.
Oh yeah, sorry. What was it? Bulldogs, a bouquet, or a bucket? Bucket, right?
I reckon
Has
they've
to
got to be a bucket, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because they had a chance to play finals and they did not step up to the opportunity. So it's a bucket,
Yeah.
unfortunately, for the Bulldogs. They're both bucket boys this year.
Yeah.
The Swans, it is a bucket still because they were in the grand final last year. So it can't not be a bucket to miss
I don't
the
know
finals.
though, but they lost their senior coach at the start of the year. Then they lost two or three of their best players for a good chunk of the season.
Yeah, they lost him, but like if they wanted to find him, they just had to check in the office. He was still there. Like,
I must admit, after the Swans lost the granny last year, I did go on Swans Twitter just to sort of see what the Swans fans were saying. And I was shocked by the vitriol being directed to John Longmire. Like there was footy fans, I don't want to get the harp out, but they have short memories. But you know what I mean?
Short
their
memories.
appreciation of like how good a coach. It's hard to get a team consistently playing finals. Like the Swans have been a consistently excellent team, just like Port Adelaide for a while. But then there's a group of people who are like, but there's some blocking them that's stopping them from winning a final or a grand final. It's like, maybe it's the competition just gets harder every year. I don't know if it's like a specific personal flaw that's like it seems crazy to me that John Longmire can coach his team to 17 wins and then they just stumble on that one day where they don't want to stumble, and that makes him a terrible coach. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Well, what I was reminded of going to the football, which I'd forgotten having not been very much, is that football fans don't know fucking anything.
Oh, nothing.
Like people yell out the dumbest shit all the time, whether it's about umpiring decisions or what the tactics should be or what a particular player should do with the ball or who's good and who's not good and whether they're doing a good thing or not. And you're just like, what are you talking about?
You know my favorite?
All I did was, because I went by myself too. So you're very just aware of you're listening to everybody else. And you're like, and it was one of those things where I was just like, you're all like I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Bevo was also wrong because we like maybe one of their ideas was better than what we were doing, but the truth of it is that it was just of course none of us know anything. Like that's the mistake we make sometimes is thinking we know stuff.
But my favorite fan complaint or fan interaction is when they claim to know what is going on inside the mind of the player. Like, oh, look at him! Like, he's given up, he's shattered, or he's hopefully he kicked 3 goals in the weekend. That lets him know that I belong. It's like I don't think they have any of these kind of fucking thoughts that you're ascribing to them. I think that they are very well drilled, disciplined young men who get told to do something, do it. Some days it comes, and some days it comes off. Sometimes it comes off, and some days it doesn't.
Literally, sometimes the ball just bounces in the wrong way. Direction.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between you having the greatest life ever or you being slightly sad for the rest of your life.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know, it got personal there towards the end, didn't it?
All right. So you're saying it's a bucket for the Swans? I don't know.
A bucket with a bucket with a seed with the
Yeah.
potential to spout a beautiful flower for next season.
I mean, they look a much better side when Errol Goulden is back in. That was stark.
Well, you know what it was?
I underestimated
First half of the season, there was already half a bucket of shit in that bucket.
Yeah.
But then somebody found a few flowers
and planted
and
them.
they chucked them in the.
But it was a
shit,
weird year for them because you remember the first half of the year, it was also that speculation around Chad Warner because he'd bought a house
Chad was
in
going to
WA
go back to Western Australia.
Yeah, it was like a mini Naz kind of rumour mill. And Isaac Heaney was off the boil. He went, now he's fucking, I would get to remember half pound, but it's too long to queue up. Yeah. But Isaac Heaney, remember he was off the boil and now he's an All-Australian. Like it was a weird season, but that's why I feel like you, there's some seeds in the shit. But I'm going to give him a bouquet, and that's very unusual for me because I don't like the Swans.
Yeah.
But because I was so enjoying their misery, and I actually admire the way they dug their way out of it and got back to almost, only 2 games out of, well, 3 games of playing finals. I suppose that's not that close. Anyway, moving on. The Carlton Football Club, our favourite topic of 2025.
So Carlton haven't finished. Like
9,
they've finished.
At 3 wins behind. So
yeah, but still, I mean, it's what 10th, 11th.
We were
11th.
talking about them as being top 4 at the start of the year.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of things.
Well, like you say, pretty bad such a shit. This season is an unmitigated disaster. Giant bucket of shit.
Interesting.
A mini skip full of shit.
No,
I
I'm going to say first half of the season is half a bucket of shit, Sydney Swans style. And then I think second half of the season, keeping the coach, maybe they're going to clear it out a bit. I mean,
well, they don't have much of a choice. The players are clearing themselves out.
Okay, you know what? That actually does add to the shit, doesn't it? Okay, you know what? 3/4 of a bucket of shit.
Yeah. I mean, it might be
not
good
a full bucket of shit to me. Like, but I think there were some positives. Like, you finished in the middle of the ladder. It's not an absolute disaster.
Any positives this year? Like, name me one player who exceeded expectations, or who came of age, or who, like.
Matthew Kennedy had a great season. I reckon it was the best season he's.
Like they talk about Elijah Hewitt, is that his name? Like they seem to like him, but I can't think of anything that he's done. Like there's no game that I remember or highlights that I remember of him. But then you sort of this whole thing about Charlie Curnow saying I want to stay, but then telling everyone he wants out. Like that seems weird, right? That everyone seems to know he wants out.
But also that does seem like the best plan. Like if you have a long-term contract with someone who like has to pay you a lot of money for a lot of years, it is best to keep telling them that you like that job.
Yep.
Even if you are telling other people that you're looking for other jobs. I think that's the right way to do it. I think it's probably a very smart move.
So the Swans need a forward. Curnow wants to get there.
Yeah.
What would you want?
To surf. That's what he wants. What would you
want? What would you want back if you're Carlton from the Swans? You can take one of their players and a draft pick. Tell me what you think.
I mean, this is going to be tough for me to, name a Sydney player. But
Jake Lloyd.
Finally. Okay.
Do you think he's on the level with like a Nick Blakey, the Lizard?
Blakey's a good suggestion, actually, because I just don't think that I would give up a Goulden,
Heaney, and Warner are untouchable.
Or a Heaney. No, I agree with that. So, but you still would have to give up something of great value.
And
I think probably,
yeah.
I think probably your next best option, like the thing that you have that is valuable, is Nick Blakey. I think he's not untouchable.
Yeah, yeah. I reckon that's about the level. Is that Nick Blakey is would you say he's an A- player or a B+?
Yeah. I mean, in that
somewhere
zone,
in that
like,
region.
could end up being like an absolute A grader, but just at the moment is slightly just below that level.
And Charlie Curnow, who has been an A grader for the last 2 or 3 years and is now below that. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I feel like they feel about it at the same place at the moment, but just in different directions getting there.
Okay, big bucket of shit for Carlton. All right, the next underneath Carlton are the Saints. Same amount of wins, 9 wins, terrible percentage of 88.5. I would say that we've had a bit of a lopsided year. Started the year terribly, got thrashed in our first game against Adelaide, then had our regulation win against Geelong at Marvel, and then went on a terrible. Well, I had a couple more wins after that, and then went on a terrible, like, barren period of just loss, and it looked bad. And then from the moment Messiah announced himself, if you leave aside the sort of conjecture around his contract, but just the fact of his unearthing, his coming of age, it's a pretty good year. I think most Saints fans are going into 2026 feeling very optimistic and excited about how we finished the year. 5 wins. I think we won 5 of the last 6 or something like that, or 5 out of the last 7, and we re-signed the Sire, and we're getting. It looks like we're getting some good free agents in the door. So I think it's a bouquet for me for the Saints.
Interesting. So what I'm going to say is it's definitely a bouquet of flowers for Nasiah Wanganeen Miller. Definitely a big bunch of flowers for Nas.
$2 million worth of flowers.
Yeah, $2 million and some flowers. I think we can all agree that Nas had a good year. I think that it's hard to say that you're giving St Kilda in general a bouquet, because if he had left, I think we definitely consider this to be a bucket of shit season.
Oh my God, it'd be worth. We'd have to invent a new category specifically for St Kilda. Like, it is the septic tank that you put the bucket of shit into that's on top of the toxic waste site.
It's the septic tank that the bucket of shit rejects that makes. Yeah,
If our one goal though, but if you view it holistically, like as soon as, like, halfway through the season, we're not playing finals. So what do we need to do? Well, we played 9 debutants. Max Hall, found that kid. He's a gun. Nasiah, Alex Taru, the Flying Viking. So I think because we're going to be grading some of these lower teams on a bit of a curve. I think if you grade St Kilda on a curve of where we are in a rebuild, I think it's a bouquet. I mean, people were saying we're going to finish bottom 4, and we finished 12th. We're not celebrating the fact, but it's not bottom 4.
But there's a bit of that with the Bulldogs for me. Like, even though we said bucket, which is you've got to be if you go that close and you don't get there. But I've never bought into the idea that we have this amazing list, and I was actually quite pleased with how we went this season. And part of what was pleasing was there's no real drop off at basically the top end of our players, like age wise, is pretty low, and the ones that are being moved out are already kind of out, like the Liam Joneses or whatever. So, getting more experience into Ed Richards and Fraser and all these guys was like a real positive. I actually think there was like a lot of, like, I think for me as a fan, I actually thought this was a really fun, good season for the Bulldogs, and I like where we are going forward. Like we've re-signed. You can see where it's all coming together. We know what our problems are that we need to fix. I felt actually like I've enjoyed the season.
And had to deal with the Jamara thing happening at the same time. I agree.
Dealt with it well. Okay. Like, re-signed the coach.
So I reckon St Kilda and Bulldogs, you could say the same thing.
If we're going into more holistic, I would add that back into the mix.
Yeah.
That I think in that regard, I'd be like, it's a bouquet, actually.
Yeah. Whether it was a successful season for the club, no, bucket of shit.
No.
But
we had our 100 years. We had this big celebration. We did pretty well. Most of the time, we gave it
until the exit meeting where Caesar said he was out.
Yeah, that's right. So he said, "Fuck this! No, I'm not ruining the rest of my life." I came in after the premiership. I've seen shit. I've seen one. Caesar's pissed off because he's only seen one lost grand final.
Okay, under the Saints, Port Adelaide also on 9 wins, terrible percentage of 79.8. I guess a bucket year, right? Like, I mean, the last win puts a bit of a shine on it.
What a fun way, by the way. We haven't had an opportunity to talk about that, but the ultimate do it for Ken.
Yeah,
so fun. What a fun way for that to end and for that to happen. I just thought that was an absolute delight.
Yeah, it was really good. But the year itself, again, injuries to a lot of key players.
Yeah. Turning people over, Travis Boak obviously retiring. Like, it's going to be a different Port Adelaide going forward. Obviously Butters is going to be playing at the Bulldogs. So it's
it'll be interesting to see where they are next year with what's his face? Old Giggles McGee. What's their new coach? Josh Carr. Josh Carr. Whether there is a bounce back or because a lot of the talk around Port Adelaide is that they're a bit washed. They were in the window a couple of years ago. been a bunch of retirements. Now they sort of need to rebuild again. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I just
I
don't know
think
their
so.
list well enough to know that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You think so?
Yeah. I think they got to trade out Butters to the Bulldogs and then rebuild.
Convenient.
Just,
But like, yeah, because that's what the Bulldogs need.
Yeah.
Another fucking midfielder.
I mean, yeah, we'll have him.
It's like Meryl Streep and Oscars. Just add it to the pile.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're both saying bucket of shit for Port Adelaide.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
All right, in 14th place, the Melbourne Demons.
Bucket of shit.
Massive bucket of shit.
Bucket of shit.
Gigantic.
What an absolute giant bucket of shit.
Especially, and they did it to them. They did it to themselves a little bit with all that
Yes.
discussion preseason.
We
about
love our bucket. This is the best bucket we've ever.
Yeah, look
I
at
know
this
that
shiny, brand new
last
bucket
year
we
our
got from
bucket had
Bunnings.
shit in it, but we've got this new
We've
bucket.
cleaned it.
And
This is
there's
a brand new
absolutely-
bucket.
There's never been shit in it, and there's never going to have shit in it again.
Bacteria resistant.
Yeah.
This bucket. There's
Yeah.
no way. And then
No one's ever going to put shit in this bucket.
oh my god, everyone like 17 other clubs did massive shits in this bucket.
Oh,
Just filled
man.
it with shit.
Yes.
Oh, just an awful year. And you feel bad for
Awful.
Max gone because there's certain players who you just think are
But,
like,
oh, by the way, what's he? 8-time All-Australian now.
yeah,
Max Gawn.
amazing, such
Incredible.
a legend, and and I feel sort of falls into that category of like Bontempelli or like Lenny Hayes, universally loved. Like I think
I
you
agree.
can't really dislike Max Gawn, and I love the
He
way
used to have
when
a dart on the way to bloody training back in the day. I
Oh,
mean, it's
did
the
he?
ultimate. Yeah, that was the story back in the day that he was like, he'd get in trouble because he'd like smoke on the way to training, like in his car. And like, it was the legend of Max Gawn. And he had that, he'd DJ in his carport or whatever it was. And he'd
had his
opened a
own
little cafe.
boutique cafe. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I mean, this who knows what'll happen because
Yeah.
the scuttlebutt is Pachaka
Oh.
to Hawthorn,
Okay.
Oliver. Well, they can't get rid of Oliver. He's still got like
No.
5 years to go on a monster contract, but no
Yes.
one, even if the Demons pay his contract, there's no teams that really seem that.
But this
interested in
is
taking him.
ultimate. Would be the ultimate opportunity for this like Tassie Devils lean into the name, like it's the original convict colony.
Colony. Take your undesirables and send them to
Yeah,
Van
that's
Diemen's
right.
land.
You take them down to Tasmania. You get Jamara down. You get like Clayton Oliver down. You get like whatever.
Oh, the bad boys.
That's right. The Suicide Squad. Like you
Yeah,
put
yeah.
together a giant 42-man Suicide Squad.
I don't know.
Of,
I
like-
don't know. That's sensitive considering what Jamara.
No, that's a good point. Actually, I'm sorry. You know what I mean. It's a comic book reference. I'm
Yeah,
not-
I get it. I think we should just like falling on the sword.
No,
As you were saying, I'm
that's
like,
fair.
oh,
Yeah,
I don't
no, it's a
know.
good point. No, let's separate the two. You're
Yeah.
absolutely
Another
correct.
handbrake
I
stand on two
I
guys. one
appreciate the
cup.
support. Thanks for being there for me.
Pleasure. Are you okay?
So, but I do like the idea of a bad boys team. You know, and they can be bad boys in whatever. Like maybe there's just a player who likes to mouth off, or
Yeah.
like
Well, Stephen May could go there.
yeah, perfect.
He's the
right?
brawler.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
Who's the
don't
mouth?
you think that would be exciting? Like, who is the like? It would
Tom
be
Papley.
Papley,
He loves
right?
a chat. Yeah, he's a bit of a pest.
Because if you're putting together like every team had to, because like
The
when they
Dirty
bring in
Dozen.
these,
I believe we've
foundation-
done this many
I
times.
know, but when you bring in your foundation team,
Yeah.
like every team needs to give one of their players
Yeah,
off
yeah,
your
yeah.
list to this team.
So who's your team's bad boy? That's a great
Yeah,
question
that's
to put
right.
out to the
Yes.
listeners. In fact, we're
Yeah.
going to have some space on the show as we get
That's
listeners'
right.
games to talk about. Who is your team's bad boy?
Yes,
Call
yes.
us now. No, I
We're
honestly
putting
want to know.
together a team
Yeah.
of bad boys.
Bad boys. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tasmanian Devils.
So
right?
tell
That
us
we're-
who your team's
yeah.
bad boy is, and it can be
Yeah.
like either current player or recently retired player
Yeah.
because it's
but it's
Tasmania,
gotta-
so they can
maybe we
recruit.
get someone back. That's
Yeah.
right. But they have to be
and
like
Give
still
us a
be
few
able to play.
examples of why.
And why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why they're bad boys. That's great. That's got me excited.
Could you
for
get
this
Toby
one.
Green? Like, because I mean to be the inaugural
Yeah.
captain.
He'd be the
Like you
mastermind.
pitch
He'd
him
be
as
like the
the
Hannibal.
you know what I mean?
Hannibal
Yeah.
of the A team, smoking the cigar.
Can't kick him in the head like he used to, but he's still as wise.
Oh, he'll
and,
just drop an
you
elbow.
know,
and
he
it's
just
right,
knows
no
how
problem.
to,
Two guys, one cup, AFL@gmail.com, or go to everyonerelax.co. There's a little contact form, two guys, one cup. Send your emails in. All right. Big bucket for Melbourne, we said. The Bombers. Oh, boy. What a year to be a Bombers supporter. Like, if this has been the year of empathy for me for Carlton fans. Like, I have not paid any attention to the Bombers, but for that reason,
No.
I feel like, oh, God,
No. They're
They're awful.
irrelevant.
They really
They
are.
are irrelevant.
Not through their
How
own
the
fault, though,
mighty have
right?
fallen, they are irrelevant to the competition at the moment.
It's crazy. Like, I'm convinced they're cursed because of the drug scandal. Because initially we thought they'd bounce back really quick and that they'd put all the right things in place, but it
Yes.
just hasn't worked, and it's getting worse. I never thought it would get worse, but it has. Like when they sacked Ben Rutten after 2 years, I'm like, oh, that should be a low point for a proud club. But no, oh boy, there was more to come.
I mean, it is hard to fathom how they've got to where they are and how, because they've been like Carlton, but just Carlton are just, they're both fuck ups. They're both, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They're both former, like, absolute power brokers who are now fuck ups, but they're fuck ups in really different ways. Like, you know, one got into supplements. You know, one did some dodgy dealing with brown paper bags. You know what I mean? One did some white collar crime. One, you know, jabbed something they shouldn't have jabbed and tried to. But they both have these like cheating scandals around what it is they have done.
Yeah.
And now they just can't seem to get their shit. And it's always
Someone else's fault.
But it's always also no. I've got my shit together now.
Yeah.
No. I've got my shit together now.
But it does kind of like feel like that with Essendon, that they did have their shit together. Like they brought in the right people, they stabilized the club with John Worsfold, they cleared the board more or less of a lot of those old sort of hangers on, and then chaos found them regardless.
Yeah.
This year through a massive injury list. But I don't know. I feel like there's something I feel like there's something evil going on. They've been hexed. I really wonder if maybe the supplements like that, they just need to go burn some sage at the hangar.
This might be controversial.
Yeah, love it.
But can we bring back Kevin Sheedy?
Yes.
Is it time to just admit?
That.
Is it time to just admit that the only real era of success that Essendon has had is the Sheedy era, and give him one last chance before he goes?
If Ross
coach the club
Lyon
again?
gets St Kilda into the finals next year, I mean, he did it in his first year, but if he gets us in, do you think you could go to the Essendon board and say, look, Saints brought back an old coach, their most successful coach of the last 20 years? Is it time to give Sheedy another
look at all
crack?
those trophies and see who the coach was when we won them all. Kevin Sheedy.
I mean, wasn't Kevin Sheedy the one pushing to get James Hurd back?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Got some great
We don't
ideas.
need James Hurd. We've got to go back further to Sheedy.
Dick Reynolds. All right. A big bucket of shit for Essendon. North Melbourne, 5 wins for the year.
Bucket of shit, unfortunately.
Bucket of
Because it
shit.
felt
When-
like they had to do better than that.
They
Like
had
there
to.
was, again,
7
think
wins
there's
I
a
would
lot
have
of-
accepted for them.
yeah. I
Even
think there's a
2
lot
more.
of good signs around North Melbourne. But
They
not
feel
quick
very-
enough yet.
They feel very...
No.
They feel like the young Western Bulldogs. Just a heap of some good forwards, a heap of midfielders, and very shaky defence.
Yeah. There's a lot of upside, but not quite enough yet. Bucket of shit, unfortunately.
Bucket of shit.
But some nice moments. in the season.
LDU sort of went off the boil too. Signed that 7-year contract. Was like, it's like he undid
Had
his
some pretty
belt.
good-
He's
had
been
some
holding in
pretty
his
good
gut
games.
for like 7 years.
I mean, I think LDU was fine, but he needs to be better. But like, I think Sheasel had an excellent season, and
my favourite player for them is Kobe McKercher. He's superstar. He's going to
I
be so
mean,
good
I
to
think
watch.
there's a lot of upside, but you just would like to see more of it next season quickly.
I do worry about George Wardlaw because he's so contested and combative, and he always seems to be injured. It's like Saints did that to Luke Ball, where after 5
Doesn't
years,
feel like
he
one of
was
those
fucked.
people you're like, oh, come on. Are we
Yeah.
going to get to see him play a lot of football, or is he going to be like
He's going to be his
retired
own
out of
worst
the game
enemy.
early? Yeah.
Yeah. Richmond, I reckon probably the surprise pack
Oh,
of
yeah.
the year. Is there an argument that Adam Uze is coach of the year?
An argument, but not like it's
Convincing.
not the winning argument. You can make the argument. I will
can
allow
argue.
you to make the argument,
Yeah.
but it will not win the argument. But are they a team that has absolutely performed above? I think they're the first team that we've talked about that have performed above where we thought they might perform.
Well,
right?
yeah, maybe if we're talking about the top 8, we'd have another example.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
But,
Like, as in this bottom like lot, most of these teams we're talking about as being disappointment or not doing as well as we would have hoped. Whereas this is the first team where we've got to where you're like, actually, you know what? You're probably high. Well, you are higher on this ladder than we expected that you were going to be. So you've just got to say that's absolutely a bouquet for, and unearthed a couple of good players. And you know, they're not as
But
old as
even-
we all thought they were. They've actually cleaned out quite a lot, and they're still fine.
And it's also that kind of intangible thing of the spirit. Like even the games that they lost, like we played them twice, and both times they had a real crack, and it was like,
and their fans seem to be in a good place about where they're at. You know,
I mean, they got
like
full bellies.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like they're like, yeah, this feels good, right? This feels right. We
Yeah.
needed a rest from doing stuff in September anyway.
A big bouquet for the Tigers, and then finally, of course, the West Coast Eagles, who have been getting buckets of shit for years now. It's just so weird to be living in the timeline where the Eagles are bad. I kind of feel like this was what it was like in the 2000s with Carlton. The first few years of Carlton being bad, you're like, oh, this is funny, but you just expected a natural bounce
they'll
back.
be back.
But I don't know. I don't know where it's going to come from with the Eagles. Harley signed on. That's good news.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course it is, but doesn't feel like it's a solution to their problems, if you know what I mean. Like it feels like they need a lot of things to suddenly go right for them, and I don't know. Like it still feels like it's so far back.
They feel like an
for them.
expansion team.
Yeah,
In terms of like how well, apart from the crowds, they get great crowd. I think they actually set a record this year for attendance, which is amazing, right? What a football club. Excellent. And well done to those fans for showing
I
up.
mean that is to be applauded.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
100%.
Like the loyalty to your club and the support you have for them, even though they're, you know what? Actually, maybe we don't need them to be good.
Like,
actually, what we're saying is we're already selling out.
Yeah.
Right? Why do we need them to be good?
I believe that's what many Carlton fans believe the board at Carlton are doing. It's like we're selling heaps of merch. We've got all these like corporate sponsors and partnerships. Do we actually need the team to be good? Because it is a drain on our resources.
It's doing fine, actually.
That'd be amazing if that's the new business model.
We're selling so many t-shirts, mate. I don't care. Whatever.
So bucket of shit for the Eagles. But I guess I don't know. I mean, there's no green. I don't even know what the green shoots would be apart from Harley.
No.
Another year of development. Good on them. Nothing. Got nothing to say. Nothing to add. Nothing to add. All right. Well, that was our evaluation of the bottom eight. Obviously, as teams get knocked out of the finals, we'll give our bucket to or bouquet to those teams. Will, have you got shows you need to promote?
Oh, yeah. I got some shows. Comedy.com.au is the place to go. But Newcastle for a couple of weeks doing what you're talking about, Will. I'm also doing it in Orange. There's not many tickets left for Orange, but I am in Launceston sold out, but there's still some tickets left in Hobart, and then some Sydney shows at the end of the year. But that's it. But they're all very close to being sold out. So if you want to come along, buy tickets quick.
And thank you to everyone who came out last week to our live show.
Yes, how good.
And Geraldine Hickey. It was great. It was an awesome.
They were, by the way, Pangy and Hickey were just the best, weren't they?
It was
so
awesome.
good.
It was great. Will and I are doing another live show, not of this podcast, but TOEFOP, which is very similar. It's this with probably slightly less football chat, or even maybe more. I don't know what the percentages of that might be. Cheerful,
if you like this, you might like that.
Yes, I think you will. October 5th, it's a Sunday afternoon. Will did it last year. It's a great festival. I believe there are some tickets still available, but there's also online tickets. So if you can't get there physically, you can buy a virtual ticket for $15 and watch it online. But we'll be back with Two Guys, One Cup next week. A play on Not 15.
Ball.
Little footy loving dickheads, dreaming about a Premiership Cup. We love our clubs, but they never win. 2 flags in 100 years. That shit house. If you think we'll be insightful, clever, or just well researched, we're here to say that's not the case. We'll just go out and wing it. We are 2 guys, 1 cup.